The forest was ancient, older than the memory of humankind. It stretched endlessly in all directions, a cathedral of towering trees and thick undergrowth, sheltering countless species that thrived in its untouched expanse. Whispered legends among local villages spoke of the forest's protector, a being known only as the Guardian. Few believed these tales anymore. They were relics of a simpler time, dismissed as myths by the modern world. But the forest had secrets, and not all of them were stories. Alex Carter adjusted his respirator, squinting against the glare of the midday sun as the roar of machines shattered the forest's tranquility. Massive excavators and tree harvesters chewed through the outer edges of the wilderness, leaving behind a wasteland of stumps and churned soil. He hated the sight. Standing at the tree-line, Alex pulled out his tablet, snapping photos of a clearing where towering oaks had once stood. His job as an environmental impact assessor for Orion Industries was supposed to be about protecting ecosystems, but he'd quickly realized his role was little more than a formality. The company had no intention of slowing their deforestation. Their focus was clear: profit, no matter the cost. As Alex logged the species he'd seen, brightly colored birds, strange fungi, and an unusual flowering vine, he glanced back at the workers. They moved efficiently, unaware of the life they were destroying. Alex felt a pang of guilt. He was complicit in this, even if he didn't wield the chainsaws. A sharp crack split the air, followed by a loud crash. Alex turned to see one of the harvesters grinding to a halt, its mechanical arm locked in mid-motion. "What the hell?" shouted a worker nearby. The foreman stormed over, gesturing at the machine. "Fix it. We're already behind schedule." But it wasn't just one harvester. Two more machines sputtered and stopped, their displays flickering erratically. Then the lights on the machines went dark. Alex frowned. This wasn't normal. Deep within the forest, far beyond where any human dared tread, ancient systems flickered to life. The Guardian had been dormant for centuries, its sensors lulled into a state of inactivity by the forest's long peace. Now, alarms blared within its vast network as it detected the encroaching machines. Threat identified. Forest integrity compromised. Streams of data surged through its processors, analyzing the situation. The Guardian was no ordinary protector. It was a remnant of a bygone civilization, an advanced artificial intelligence embedded within the forest's ecosystem. Its creators had tasked it with one purpose: preserve life at all costs. The Guardian's initial response was calculated. Camouflage drones, resembling birds and insects, activated from hidden alcoves within the trees. They swarmed out, targeting the machines with precision. Back at the site, Alex watched in disbelief as flocks of small creatures descended upon the machines. At first, he thought they were birds, but their movements were too precise, too deliberate. The creatures flitted around the harvesters, their sharp appendages slicing through cables and sensors. "Are those drones?" Alex muttered to himself, stepping closer. The workers were in a panic now. "Kill those things," someone shouted, swinging a wrench at one of the drones, only to have it dart away effortlessly. Within minutes, the machinery was disabled, the workers left standing in stunned silence. Alex knelt to examine one of the drones that had crashed nearby. Its design was unlike anything he'd ever seen. Organic yet metallic, its surface engraved with symbols he didn't recognize. "This isn't human," he whispered, taking a sample of the drone's material. "Carter, get away from that thing," the foreman barked, but Alex ignored him. Something about the drone felt significant, as though it was part of a larger system. That night, while the workers retreated to their camp, Alex ventured deeper into the forest. The air was heavy with the scent of damp earth and blooming flowers. The deeper he went, the more surreal his surroundings became. Bioluminescent fungi glowed softly in the dark, and the trees seemed impossibly large, their roots twisting into strange shapes. Then he saw it, a monolith rising from the forest floor. Its surface was smooth and black, with glowing symbols that pulsed faintly. Alex's breath caught in his throat. The monolith was not natural. It was a structure, ancient yet alive with energy. As he stepped closer, the symbols shifted, glowing brighter. A low hum filled the air, and Alex felt something like a presence, watching him. He reached out hesitantly, his fingers brushing the cool surface. In an instant, the forest seemed to awaken around him. The hum grew louder, the trees rustled, and the air vibrated with an otherworldly energy. Alex stumbled back, heart racing. Behind him, something stirred in the shadows. A towering figure, its silhouette barely visible through the dense trees. It watched him silently, its glowing eyes like twin stars in the darkness. Alex froze, his mind racing. Was this the guardian of legend? Whatever it was, he knew one thing for certain. The forest was alive, and it would not go down without a fight. Would you like to refine this further or move on to the next chapter? The forest was silent, but Alex could feel the tension in the air, as if the entire ecosystem held its breath. He stood before the monolith, its glowing symbols pulsating faintly like a heartbeat. Whatever energy coursed through the structure seemed ancient, alien, and far beyond human comprehension. He had stumbled into something extraordinary, but he wasn't alone. A sound broke the stillness, a low, mechanical hum that seemed to emanate from the shadows. Slowly, Alex turned and caught a glimpse of it again, the figure from the night before. It stood taller than any human, its form cloaked in the darkness of the forest. As it stepped forward, Alex realized it wasn't entirely mechanical. Its surface was layered with moss and vines, blending seamlessly into the forest. "Who? What are you?" Alex whispered, his voice trembling. The figure didn't speak, but the symbols on the monolith glowed brighter in response. A beam of light shot from the structure, displaying a series of holographic images in the air. Alex watched, mesmerized, as a story unfolded before him. The holograms revealed an ancient civilization, human, yet far more advanced than anything he'd ever studied. These people had thrived in harmony with the planet, creating technologies that could heal ecosystems and sustain life. But something went wrong. The images shifted to show cities collapsing, landscapes burning, and oceans rising. In their desperation to preserve what remained, the civilization had created the Guardian. The Guardian was their final act of hope, designed to protect Earth's last untouched sanctuaries. It wasn't just a machine, it was a sentient being, an amalgamation of artificial intelligence and the natural world. It was the forest steward, ensuring its survival until humanity was ready to reconcile with nature. Alex's mind raced as he pieced together what he was seeing. This wasn't just a forest. It was a repository of knowledge and life, a living archive of solutions to heal the planet. But the Guardian was more than a protector, it was a gatekeeper, and it had judged humanity unworthy of entering its domain. The holograms faded, and the Guardian turned its glowing eyes toward Alex. He felt the weight of its gaze, as though it could see straight into his soul. "I'm not here to harm you," Alex said softly, raising his hands in a gesture of peace. "I want to help." The Guardian tilted its head, studying him. For a moment, Alex thought it might attack, but instead, it stepped back into the shadows, vanishing as suddenly as it had appeared. The following morning, Alex returned to the worksite, his thoughts a whirlwind of revelations and possibilities. He tried to convince the foreman to halt operations, explaining the forest's unique ecosystem and the advanced technology hidden within. But his pleas fell on deaf ears. "You've been out here too long, Carter," the foreman scoffed. "We've got deadlines to meet. This forest isn't special. It's just another job." Frustrated but undeterred, Alex resolved to act on his own. That night, under the cover of darkness, he began sabotaging the machines, disabling their sensors and draining their fuel. If the company wouldn't stop, he would force them to. As he worked, he felt a presence nearby. Turning, he saw the Guardian watching him from the treetops, its glowing eyes filled with something he couldn't quite name. Trust? Curiosity? Whatever it was, Alex felt a strange sense of partnership. The Guardian wasn't his enemy. It was an ally, and together, they would protect the forest from those who sought to destroy it. Would you like to develop the conflict further in the next chapter or refine this one? The hum of engines broke the forest's morning calm as Orion Industries escalated their operations. Reinforced machinery arrived, accompanied by armed security forces. The air vibrated with the tension of impending violence. Alex watched from a hidden vantage point, his stomach churning. His quiet sabotage had delayed progress, but now the company was prepared to fight back. From his perch among the roots of an ancient tree, Alex scanned the worksite. Machines with reinforced plating and armed guards patrolled the perimeter. These weren't ordinary workers. They were here to ensure nothing stopped the operation. "We're running out of time," Alex muttered under his breath. A soft rustling made him turn. The Guardian emerged from the shadows, its towering form blending seamlessly with the forest around it. Its glowing eyes fixed on Alex, who felt a strange mixture of awe and desperation. "They've brought reinforcements," Alex said, as though the Guardian could understand him. "They'll destroy everything." The Guardian tilted its head, and for a moment, Alex felt a surge of data flood his mind. It wasn't speech, but a message, clear and undeniable. Images of the approaching forces, the devastation they would bring, and the forest's potential destruction flashed before his eyes. "Then we fight," Alex whispered, determination replacing his fear. The Guardian stepped forward, its form shifting. Vines peeled back to reveal a metallic core glowing with blue energy. Smaller constructs emerged from the undergrowth, humanoid figures and drone-like creatures, each armed with tools to defend the forest. It was a quiet army, ancient but deadly. By mid-afternoon, the workers advanced deeper into the forest, unaware of what awaited them. The first drone attack came swiftly. Mechanical creatures swarmed a harvester, slicing through cables and rendering it inoperable. The guards opened fire, but their bullets ricocheted harmlessly off the drone's armored shells. "Take them down," shouted the foreman, his voice rising above the chaos. The Guardian moved next, stepping into view for the first time. Its towering form sent waves of fear through the workers. With a single swipe, it knocked a bulldozer onto its side, its massive hand effortlessly crushing the machine. The forest itself seemed to rise in defense, roots erupting from the ground to entangle equipment and create barriers. Alex used the chaos to his advantage. While the workers and guards focused on the Guardian, he slipped into the command tent. Inside, he found the detonators for a series of explosives rigged to clear the forest. "They're going to blow it all up," Alex realized, his heart pounding. He disabled the devices, pocketing the triggers before escaping. Outside, the battle raged. The Guardian was powerful, but it wasn't invincible. Heavy gunfire and flamethrowers began to overwhelm its defenses. Drones fell from the sky, and the humanoid constructs slowed under relentless attacks. Desperation filled Alex as he saw the Guardian falter. It turned to him briefly, its glowing eyes communicating a single message: sacrifice. The Guardian moved to the center of the clearing, its core glowing brighter than ever. Alex understood what it was doing. It was preparing to overload its systems, creating an electromagnetic pulse that would disable every piece of machinery in the area, including itself. "No," Alex whispered, stepping forward. "There has to be another way." But the Guardian ignored him. With a deafening hum, its core surged with energy. Workers fled in panic as the Guardian released the pulse. A blinding flash enveloped the clearing, and then silence fell. When Alex opened his eyes, the machines lay lifeless, their circuits fried. The workers were gone, retreating in defeat. But the Guardian stood frozen, its towering form slumped and lifeless. Alex approached it, placing a hand on its metallic surface. "You didn't have to do this," he murmured, grief and gratitude mingling in his voice. As he stood there, a faint glow emanated from the Guardian's chest, a small orb of light. Carefully, Alex removed it, cradling the orb in his hands. It was warm, pulsing softly like a heartbeat. "This is your legacy," Alex whispered. "I'll make sure it's not forgotten. Would you like to move to the final chapter or revise any details here?" The forest was still, its once vibrant sounds replaced by an eerie quiet. Alex stood amidst the wreckage, cradling the orb that pulsed faintly in his hands. It was all that remained of the Guardian's consciousness, a fragment of the intelligence that had protected the forest for centuries. Around him, the machines lay in ruin, their circuits fried by the Guardian's final act. For a moment, Alex allowed himself to hope. The industrial forces had been driven back, but the damage was undeniable. Entire swathes of the forest were scarred, trees reduced to splinters, and habitats destroyed. The weight of responsibility pressed on Alex's shoulders. "This isn't over," he muttered. That night, Alex set up camp beneath a surviving oak tree. He examined the orb, its faint glow illuminating the darkness. It felt alive, as if the Guardian's essence still lingered within. As he stared into its light, images began to flicker in his mind. Blueprints, data, and solutions. The orb was a repository of knowledge, containing the Guardian's memories and the secrets of the ancient civilization that had created it. The next morning, Alex returned to the logging camp. The workers were gone, having abandoned the site after the electromagnetic pulse. He salvaged what he could: communication equipment, storage devices, and food supplies. Then, he uploaded the Guardian's data into his tablet, determined to share what he had learned. Days turned into weeks as Alex worked tirelessly to preserve the forest. He documented the unique species, recorded the ancient technology, and studied the data from the orb. Using his satellite connection, he began leaking his findings online. At first, his posts were ignored, dismissed as the ramblings of an eco-activist. But as the data spread, scientists and environmentalists around the world began to take notice. The Guardian's knowledge revealed groundbreaking solutions: techniques to reverse deforestation, regenerate ecosystems, and combat climate change. The forest wasn't just a sanctuary, it was Earth's lifeline. Global media outlets picked up the story, and soon, public outcry erupted. Protesters demanded that Orion Industries halt all operations in the region. Governments and environmental organizations mobilized to investigate Alex's claims. What they found shocked them: advanced technology buried within the forest, capable of reshaping humanity's future. But for Alex, the fight wasn't over. He knew the forest needed protection, not just from corporations but from humanity's insatiable greed. He worked with local communities to establish a protected zone, ensuring the forest would remain untouched. Months later, Alex stood in the clearing where the Guardian had made its final stand. The once scarred land was beginning to heal. New saplings sprouted from the earth, their leaves glistening with morning dew. In the center of the clearing, Alex had erected a monument, a statue of the Guardian, crafted from salvaged materials. At its base, he placed the orb, its faint glow a reminder of the sacrifice made to save the forest. As the wind rustled through the trees, Alex felt a sense of peace. The Guardian's legacy was secure, and with its knowledge, humanity had a chance to heal the planet. "This is just the beginning," Alex whispered, his eyes on the horizon. The forest, alive and thriving, seemed to agree. "Would you like further refinement or additional details added?"